All right, continuing with COVID news, with Israel's airport now closed, many Israelis who left the country and wanted to come back in order to get vaccinated are now unable to come here. But even after the airport will be reopened, will Israeli expats be able to come back to get vaccinated? Is it even legal? Well, joining us now to explain is Joshua Pex from CDPB Law Firm. Joshua, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, are expats really coming back to Israel to get vaccinated? And like I asked in my lead, is it legal?
So first of all, yes, it is legal. Anyone that holds an Israeli passport can actually come to Israel, land at the airport or through any border crossing and enter Israel. The question is, will they be able to get the vaccination? Because they will need to actually have a waiting period.
Okay, so just to distinguish, there obviously are Israeli residents and there are Israeli citizens. Residents might be the ones who actually maintain their health insurance payments, but the citizens are the ones that haven't lived here in a long time, are residents of different countries. Is there a difference between the two statuses in terms of who can get vaccinated?
Yes, any Israeli that is living outside of Israel for more than 2 years, then he's probably not a resident anymore. He hasn't paid the Israeli national insurance, and therefore he's not a member of any what is called Kupat Cholim, a healthcare organization.
Right.
Maybe they're living in countries that a very small percentage of the population has been vaccinated, and they think to themselves, in Israel, more than 2 million people have already got the vaccine. Maybe I can go back to Israel, a short vacation in the homeland, meeting family and friends, and also get the vaccination at the same time.
And the answer to that is, can they do that?
The answer is that the Israeli Ministry of Health has actually said, no, they don't encourage this. I mean, if a person hasn't actually paid their insurance, why would they be able to come and just get the vaccination? However, in practice, we know, and also the Ministry of Health has admitted that this has happened. So this is maybe something that is sort of typical of Israel.
Right.
And we know that the state of Israel does like to help Israelis wherever they are if they're in trouble. So I think this is also something we see in that direction.
Well, technically, any Israeli citizen can legally come back into the country whenever they want. They just, like you said, they don't have health insurance. Will they be able to, pay for a vaccine through some private company, a private health insurance? Is that possible right now in Israel?
So first of all, I don't know of any way to pay for it privately, but people coming back, usually they have to wait for a period of up to 6 months. But if they do want to shorten the period of waiting, they can pay up to 12,000 shekels, which is about $3,700, and then reduce or eradicate this waiting period. So this is an option. I mean, maybe it's not recommended, but it is possible.
So they can come to Israel, pay 12,000 shekels, and basically have the vaccine the next day.
Yeah, I mean, they'll need to go through quarantine and need to register with the Kupat Cholim, with the clinic, but in theory, it seems like it would be possible for those who are already Israeli citizens.
And from what you've seen, people are already doing this?
We're seeing a little bit of it, but just because all the logistics, it's very difficult to travel these days. So we haven't seen a huge number, but I think we will be seeing it more and more in the next couple of months.
And from which countries are most of these people coming from, or where do you expect to see them coming from when the numbers start to grow?
I would say mostly from North America, United States, Canada, but maybe also Western Europe, places like France or Germany, where we hear that only 1% of the population has been vaccinated. There might be Israelis there that do want to get the vaccine.
Do you foresee that Israel will start sort of providing the private vaccines to create some sort of medical tourism around the vaccine in Israel? I mean, that's definitely could be an option since Israel is getting through this vaccine campaign so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds a little bit outlandish, but Israel is the startup nation, and we see that Israel has managed to distribute the vaccine faster than maybe any other place, so it could be.
All right, a very interesting development. Joshua Pex, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.